on. So there we go. All right, so our assignments for the week, I'm following along with the Halloween theme. And what you're going to do is the first story. The first story is called The Boarded Window. It's a short story, and it was written in I'm going to view the assignment here. I'm going to view it. It was written, I believe, in 1891. So the whole thing we want to think about with this short story called The Boarded Window is, can you trust everything you are told in a story? So really think about who's telling the story. The narrator that's telling the story. You got to think of something also to think of is like, you know, when we have different narrators, there's first person, third person, that kind of thing. So do any of you know, brave souls, want to put in the chat, if a person who's doing the narrating and they're saying I and me, what person that's in? Because I'm just warning, if you're really paying attention, this is one of the questions. Does anybody know what person that's in? When the narrator is saying, I did this, we did this, it's my house, that kind of thing. Does anybody know what person that's in? Anyone put it in the chat, or guess, or too embarrassed, or say it out loud? Yep, thank you, Cassie, for being a brave soul. It's first person. So whenever the narrator is I, me, it's about them. Okay, so that's first person. Thank you, Cassie, for saying that. So this was a short story written in 1891. I want you to be thinking about the parts in the story that are and are not reliable. Can we rely on what we're being told in things we read? And we don't like it. It's funny, it's kind of funny, like in social media nowadays, there's so much fake news. You know, it's like, is this person reliable, right? Can we rely on who's telling the story? You can listen to this story or you can read it to yourself, and then please answer the questions thoroughly. So remember, that means thoroughly means complete sentences, capitals, periods, words spelt correctly. So I know some people already kind of answered some of these questions. I'm going to go down to way below. So what you're going to do is, I'm way at the end and I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to go back up on the story. So excuse me. So like I said, it's a short story. As you read, you're going to ask yourself, what motivated Murloc to board up the windows of his cabin? So he's in a cabin, and what motivated him to board it up, cover it up? And then it kind of asks you questions about the 1800s. And then here it is, the boarded window. So he talks about living in Ohio. That's on the other side of the United States from us. And then it kind of talks about, you think it's not first person, but then later on, as he explains, he says, there is a secret to that window. I know it, and I'm about to share it with you. So just kind of a little mystery thing going on. All right, so you're gonna answer some multiple choice again. There might be some short answer, but you're going to read the story and think about, is this gentleman who's telling the story, is he reliable? Okay, can you trust him in his storytelling? Okay, and then, so anyways, you're gonna answer these questions. All right, again, make sure they're thoroughly answered, complete sentences. So I looked on here and noticed there wasn't a complete sentence on some, although if you answer these, this is different because it's a poll. If you lived in the 1800s, where would you choose to live? Where would you have chosen to live? So obviously these aren't going to be complete sentences because they've already given you the answers. You just choose one, okay? All right, so our next one, and at the end, if you want to, you can ask questions about that. The other one is we're analyzing a poem, and some of you are probably going, oh, Miss Fun, I hate poems. But poems are in the standard, reading and analyzing them and thinking about them. So this poem, though, is about ghosts. It's called Ghosts. Oh, no, it's not. Well, you'll see. It's a little bit different. So some things to think about is, why do people dance? Why is the title Ghosts when that word is not used in the poem? And then you need to read it several times and answer the question. So please don't go in and and it's going to show because some other kids did this assignment. Quickly read it as fast as you can to get through it. Remember, poetry is a little bit difficult. This one is a little bit on the easier end, but you might wonder, as you read, think about why do people dance? Okay, now you're going, why did they put this Scottish reel on here? That's just kind of ridiculous. Why did they put that on here? Well, the reason they did is because further down, it talks about in this thing, it says, in the graveyard late at night, skeletons dance by lantern light, hand on hip, toe and heel, whirling around in a Scottish reel. Okay, so Scottish reel. Now notice up here, I don't know what one is, but up here, this is asking you, have you ever seen a Scottish reel? So this is kind of showing you what it would look like with those skeletons dancing. So that's the purpose. Now you don't have to watch that whole video. It's pretty long. You don't have to do that. But just kind of get an idea of how they're dancing. And then it says, rattle, 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 elbows and shins, happy skulls with gaping grins. Gaping means mouth open. Tall ones, short ones, see them prance back and forth in their Highland dance. Around and around those dancers whirl to the phantom bagpipes skirl. Now, I don't know what all those words mean, but I think I'm getting kind of the gist. They're dancing around to bagpipes. And again, bagpipes goes up to the whole Scottish, right? They're the ones that have played those bagpipes. Heads thrown back, arms held out, all night long they swirl about. And so they dance till break of day, when gradually they fade away. In stately procession, see them pass. Procession is like a march in a line, leaving only the dewy grass. Now, I realize that I read that to you, but I want you to make sure that you, of course, read it again, at least two more times, and then answer the questions and make sure they're thorough answers again. Because it's asking you things like, which phrase from the poem is another term for Highland dance? I believe that's a multiple choice. Lines 13 and 14 are included in the poem because then you have to give an answer there. Which word best describes the feeling that the poet creates in this poem? And another multiple choice. And how do the skeletons feel about nighttime? Use at least 2 examples from the poem to support your answer. So you're going to have 2 examples from the poem about how the skeletons feel. All right? So those words should be spelled correctly because you're taking them from the poem, okay? So that is it for there. Okay, so I am going to stop recording right now. Are there any questions? And I'm going to, did I say stop presenting? Oh, I'm going to stop recording.